the issue of environmental justice and social justice, and I do remember when I was responsible for the trust fund, the idea of buying land that maybe not as significant in terms of its habitat or its wilderness, but it was accessible to where the population was, especially lower income populations and inner city populations, and you need that access to create a concept of connection to the environment versus buying land that may again protect critical habitat. So that's a constant battle in terms of environmental issues that are focused on people's daily lives and needs. So talk a little bit about, in terms of public land or any other issue, the connection between environmental protection and environmental justice and social justice.
One of the great things that has happened in recent years is the Detroit area focus on public lands. We didn't even have a state park in Detroit or close to Detroit until recently. That park is now the Milligan State Park, which is right on the waterfront of Detroit. It's turned out to be a great magnet for people from Detroit and other areas close to Detroit to get outside. It's a major sport fishery, and it will bring kids in the inner city to experience nature. I've heard stories over the years of Chicago and Detroit, kids that grew up within 5 or 10 miles of Lake Michigan or the Detroit River and never been to see it. I mean, they are that cut off the waters around them. So the efforts that have been made to bring state parks, state lands, and state fisheries and wildlife programs to the city have been very laudable. As far as environmental justice, that's a term that really relates to the overexposure of urban populations to multiple sources of pollution. There are subsistence fishers in Detroit that rely on sport fish as a major source of protein. And if you eat a lot of sport fish, you are at greater risk of being exposed to unsafe levels of contamination. Those are the same people that are going to be breathing in unsafe air more than others, and also being exposed to other environmental insults like lead poisoning and older housing and so forth. So the effort in environmental justice really is to try to deal with those threats. We should mention also that urban populations are often more exposed to hazardous waste sites and contamination sites, so that's another factor. And the movement is, I think, shifting to more of an urban concern, that people are focused on just as much on people in urban areas as it is on trees up north. So it's happening, which is good.
When I worked for the Department of Transportation, it was just as, I'm not an engineer and I'm not a transportation professional. It was interesting to be around transportation professionals, but I was there when they were just beginning to see the impact that the transportation system has had on communities and urban communities, and the number of communities that have been destroyed by expanding freeways or access to urban freeways, usually bypasses, you know, when you bypass the main freeway. So it was interesting to watch that profession sort of gain a new understanding of the impact that their history has had on urban populations. They weren't enjoying it, but they were getting there. So I remember my second part. One of the things that I learned when I was with the Natural Resources Trust Fund, which I hadn't really realized, is how important hunting is to land protection. How many of the lands that are available for public recreation were actually bought with hunting licenses. And we enjoy them as hikers. And I don't hunt, but the hunting is decreasing as an activity, and therefore hunting licenses is decreasing as an opportunity to buy public lands for public recreation. I remember when I was in the DNR, they were like, we need to get people to hunt. And I thought, well, either that or we need to find what they are doing and tax that. One of the things that I didn't like in government is the fact that we don't do general taxes much anymore. We tax an activity, because you're like, well, then the people who pay for that activity will do it. But when our activities change, it's hard to move the tax to the new activity. So is hunting, do you know, is hunting still declining in Michigan? And are we running out of money for buying public lands?
Yeah, it is decreasing substantially. It's number of licenses basically is going down every year. It's just, most people are not being exposed to it when they're in use, so and there are other pursuits that have overtaken it, and particularly biking, mountain biking, and as well as other biking. So we gotta tax biking, right? More fees on biking.
Not all about general fund, just more
Right.
taxes. Just more taxes.
Well, I remember when we basically had, our park system was paid for by general funds, and we could get into a state park for $1, and now it's, I don't know what it is, you get the recreation passport, but it's a lot more expensive. So yeah, we need to do more general taxation, but over the years, they've shifted all of the park general fund to something else, and so our park system is reliant largely on fees. I was going to mention, talk about roads. There's a project in the Traverse City area that just won't die. It's called the Hartman-Hamlin Connector. It's to try to create a road that goes around Traverse City. It connects the US 31 on the south with US 31 on the east. And the locals there thought they had killed it 20 years ago, but now it's come back. It would include a bridge that spans the Ormond River high up. It would be the second longest bridge in Michigan after the Mackinac Bridge. It's just an amazing boondoggle, I think. But
Because the Milwaukee Bridge was such a necessary thing.
right, yeah. So roads have a habit of not going away. People are still addicted to roads, and we need to deal with that. But on the other hand, also 20 years ago when I worked at the Michigan Environmental Council, we were trying to get a train to operate between Ann Arbor, or Detroit actually, and Traverse City. We're still studying that 20 years later. I don't know if it'll ever happen, probably not in my lifetime.
No.
Even though I plan to live another 50 years, so.
Okay, well then, we'll put that on your to-do list.
Okay.
Yep. The other thing for those folks, I mean, if you're familiar with Grand Haven, again, I don't want to talk bad about NDOT because it was actually 15 best years of my career, but transportation is trained, the professionals are trained for fast and safe. That's basically what they were taught in school. And they so want to make it easier to get on through US 31, through Grand Haven. Whereas if you live in Grand Haven, you see that as your main street. And so they're like, no, quit messing with it. We don't care for the people that it takes more time to get through our city. But it's a toughie because you're dealing with that. It's one of the things that, again, I appreciate in transportation. They did a whole book on highways as main streets and beginning to realize that it's not just about fast and safe. It's about other things that roads do well and don't do well in terms of pedestrians and bicyclists.